Welcome, everybody, to the next edition of Pack Talking with great friend of the podcast, Joanna Stanford. Am I pronouncing
Hello.
that correctly?
Man, nice to have you on, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. Good to see you guys.
I
How you
about
been?
caught myself up though at the beginning of that video and asked you a question after I said start recording. Sorry to stiff you there for a second. I was like,
It's all good. I'm so in the moment that I already forgot what the question was. So
perfect.
it'll be just like you asked it the first time.
Hey, so you're on the road, I presume, right?
Not right now. I'm stationed at my home base in Long Beach for the winter.
Oh, nice. Okay, for the winter. I was just gonna ask where were you at there, but yeah, that's awesome. So how long
Yeah.
will you be there for?
I'm here till April. I have a monthly site at the only RV park in the area.
Yeah, and Joanna or Jojo, sorry, sorry. Um, give everyone a little idea of what you're doing right in with the RV life and your impact with the dogs in the world.
Good. Yeah, thank you. Um, Well, let's see. I had a dog walking and training business for 13 years. In 2021, I sold it, and I sold my house, and I bought this RV. And sorry, the neighbors have some worker guys out, so the dog's
No
alerting.
worries. Barely,
Uh,
you can barely hear it on this end.
oh, okay, good. A little bit of whining. So anyway, I sold my business and my house, and I bought this RV, and I just kind of took off and took a little sabbatical, traveling around the country for like a year and a half or so. Altogether, I went all over the country. I was actually bummed that I missed Illinois, uh, so because
It's
that
all
was
right.
it was a little bit on my list. There was a couple people I missed on my trips or in my travels, but I'm not done. I'm still living in the RV, and I will be traveling again.
Wheels back down in the springtime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Cool.
You've
Yep.
named this RV, haven't you?
I did. Yeah, her name is Betty Lou.
Betty Lou. And you
Yep.
guys,
Comforting.
It's a
That's like that.
1999 Lazy Days Class C motorhome, 31 feet long, and we tow a Jeep Wrangler that
A lot.
I put I put some stripes on the Jeep to match the RV. So it's Betty Lou and the boy, and they're starting a band.
That's awesome. That whole rig is a real setup. I would love to do that, but I couldn't imagine traveling. It
yeah,
would be an adventure just to go from 100 miles
it's
away even with that thing.
definitely an adventure that
Yeah,
JoJo has set
you've
her
gone all the way
life
to the East
on.
Coast with it, right?
Yeah, I went from Long Beach down to Florida. I stayed at Todd's house for like a month, waiting out the winter, and then I went all the way up to Maine, and I stayed with Caitlin, and I didn't stay with them, but I saw Caitlin and Adam up there, and we hung out.
So you were there recently.
2022, I was there.
Oh yeah, because they were out there then too.
They were
Because
up there at the time.
they're out there now, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they are
So
out there now, and they recently went to RV life.
they did.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
really?
yeah,
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 yeah. I was talking with Adam about it. He's
yeah,
super excited.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
We had a good chat about it when I was there, and they were just like, "We wow," they were like, "We want one of these," so they got one, and
Yeah, that's
they're having a
living
great
the
time.
dream. Living
Yeah,
the dream. Being
yeah.
able to have like a mobile like home. You can go
Mhm.
anywhere and still have the comforts of home with you. It's cool. It's really
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah, and then
Um, go ahead.
from there I came back, but I did work with some trainers and walkers while I was out. I didn't just enjoy myself the whole time. Well, I enjoyed all of it, but
Yeah,
I wasn't just vacationing the whole
working.
time. I did work a little bit here and there.
Yeah, and you offer like you shadow people's companies or their different companies and kind of help them just run the not run the business necessarily, but show them different business aspects of it all and potentially do help them run the business to some degree.
Mhm.
You're just probably I mean that's what's the value on that? That's crazy. That'd be somebody, especially as starting off and you're not really sure what to do. I mean, that's
Hmm.
awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's such a cool service to offer. Really, very unique. I like that.
Yeah, thank you. I did when I was traveling, I was working with people hands on, and that's kind of what gave me the idea because I was asked to help people with behavior, help them understand dog psychology, dog behavior more, and then I was teaching their employees and through the process of just being there at their location and their environment with their clients and so on, it was uh, kind of like I just saw pieces of their business that they could improve and make more efficient. So I ended up giving them a lot of business advice as well. So that's kind of where I came up with finding a um like an online program. I'm sorry, I'm distracted because I feel like my voice is being echoed back to me.
It
It'll
sounds
sound like that now, but when it goes up, it won't sound like that. It's kind of weird. So sorry. I
All right, I just wanted to
apologize.
make sure it wasn't like
no, it's all right.
Yeah,
recorded
no,
that
no.
way. Yeah. But anyway, so when I got back home to Long Beach and I was like, I got to find a way to make this lifestyle sustainable. And uh, because I didn't really have a big enough following to really get hands on clients throughout the entire country. So I created an online coaching program called Lead Academy, and um, it's a 6 month program, and I help people start and grow their dog business. So it's half business and half behavior, and we have hours of Zoom calls every week and hours of video content for them to watch, and we talk
That's
about
awesome.
everything under the sun, and it's been really awesome. I
That's
really,
awesome.
yeah,
And I'm sure it's one of those things too that you'll probably just keep improving. It'll just keep getting better
yeah,
as you do it. That's
hmm,
awesome. Good for
yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Good
I
for you.
started it in May, and my first students from when we started in May just left the program, um, and I miss them. But I got all kinds of good feedback from them, so like constantly improving and always bringing more to the table. I'm starting to have guests come in and do guest speaking once a month, and that's been really fun to invite my friends in and
Yeah, I wish I would have done that 10 years ago. Yeah, that would have helped me out,
yeah,
especially at the beginning. That's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
I have
Hmm.
a question. How do you find the clients and advertise for this part of your business that you're jumping on now?
Hmm. Good question. I have ads on Instagram.
Nice.
I actually joined a coaching program myself to learn how to build the coaching program.
It's awesome.
I was doing it myself when I was starting with online courses. I thought that would be a good passive income, but I got stuck because I'm a dog trainer. I'm not like an internet tech savvy person as much. So I didn't know what click funnels were and all that kind of jazz. So I eventually just found myself stuck and I didn't know where to take it. So I found, honestly, it was an ad on my Instagram feed called Smart Coach. And so I joined Smart Coach and they gave me a full step by step process to put this program together. And it was
Oh,
awesome.
really? You like that? You like that program then, huh? What was the name of that again?
It's called Smart Coach.
Smart Coach. Cool. And I'll have to look into that.
It was a kind of a hefty investment, but it was well worth it.
Really? Yeah. They say the or local Facebook ads is the gripe someone just was pushing on me a lot, to advertise a little bit more and doing that. So I don't know if I need to, but I guess I should probably just to help spread the message, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it does help. Um, I think just putting out regular content is another option if you don't want to spend the money. But having ads and having them targeted in certain areas has definitely been helpful. And it just brings people to me instead of me having to go find people, which
So
is
does
really,
that work? Like you tell them where you're going to be, and then it advertises specifically there? Because if you're mobile now, does that like work in a way like, hey, I'm going to be driving up to Seattle. Can you target Seattle? How does that work?
I don't do it for hands-on business. I do it for the online business. So for my
Okay.
online coaching program, I have specific ads that are put out for that, and that can go anywhere because people can join from anywhere. I have one student in Turkey. I have students in Canada. I have students in all over the country.
How's the one in Turkey? Is there a language barrier at all?
No, she was a TCW student and she used to live in
Okay.
New York. So there's not a language barrier, but there is a time difference barrier because they're, I think, almost 12 hours ahead of us.
So yeah,
So,
when you're waking up, she's going to bed, or vice versa.
yes, it's morning here and it's evening there. And, she works during the day and all this stuff. So it's a challenge, but all of our Zooms are recorded and everything's recorded. So you could be a part of the program and I'll never see your face. Except for once a month, we do one-on-one calls. So they get a one-on-one call with me. But yeah, it's so the ads are targeted for the online business, and people involved in the online business can then be a part of the hands-on business. So that's like the next phase of the program. So it's online program, and then I'm going to do specific trips to go see certain people that want
Mm,
me to come that were graduates of the program. So that's how it's working so far.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
thanks.
Nice. Talk to us about your dog walking business in the early days of Jojo Trots,
Yeah.
and how you started to become a professional, and
Hmm.
your journey into like going up to the DPC at a certain point, all that. Give us
Yeah.
your origin story, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Bobby. It's funny you say Jojo Trats because that's what a lot of people called me for a little bit because that was my Instagram name.
It wasn't the name of the business.
No, the name of the business was Trots Dogs or Trots Dog
Trots.
Walking,
That's what it was. Okay,
but my
Trots.
Instagram name was Jojo Trots. Um,
Yes,
and Yoa used to call me Jojo Trots all the time.
we love Yoa. I
Yeah,
want to get him on here at some point.
yeah,
He's the best.
he is the best. So before I was a dog walker, I ran movie theaters. I was a movie theater manager for 12 or 13 years. Um, I started selling popcorn and I had moved up. And by the end of my movie theater career, I was a general manager of a single screen, independently owned art house in the vintage section of town here in Long Beach. And I got fired. So when I got fired, I was sitting around the house a lot, doing a whole lot of nothing, feeling sorry for myself, and watching a lot of TV. And at the time, our landlord gave us free direct TV because we lived in a small, like, triplex that a friend of mine owned. And so we got free direct TV. And that was when I saw The Dog Whisperer for the first time. And I got hooked on it. So here I am sitting around in my pajamas all day, not doing a damn thing, but watching marathons of Dog Whisperer. Fridays were marathon days. Fridays, Nat Geo had Dog Whisperer on all day long. And so Fridays, I was literally on the couch. My girlfriend would come home from work to me sitting on the couch in the dark in my pajamas watching Duck Whisperer, dirty dishes in the sink, nothing had been done all day. And she'd come home and be like, "What the hell is this?" And I'd be like, "Baby, you won't even believe this guy." And that was my life for several months. And then my neighbor got a dog, and she was going to put her dog in daycare. And so my girlfriend said, "You should get Joanna to walk your dog. She's obsessed with this show, and she doesn't have a job." So we worked out a deal where I would take Otis for a walk every day, Monday through Friday, for $60 a week, and that was in 2009. And so I started taking Otis out 10 a.m. every morning, and he was an American Bulldog boxer mix, and he was probably a year old. He was a really easy dog. He was a great dog to learn with. He was a great teacher, and I tried all the things I saw on the show, and it worked. All the things I saw was just like, we're gonna try this. And I had rollerblades, so I rollerbladed with them. Like I did all the things that I saw Caesar do on the show, and they were working. And that was a time in my life where I was not doing so well. I got fired from my job. A month later, our apartment got robbed, and a month after that, my fiance and I broke up.
Oh gosh.
I moved back home with my parents. So so walking Otis every day for an hour was like the only thing I had to do. It was the only thing that got me out of bed in the morning, and it was the only time that I felt calm and assertive, because the rest of the day I felt like shit. I would wake up crying and heartbroken, and then I would go walk this dog, and I knew that I had to be calm and assertive for this one dog. So I
It's
would say,
beautiful that you had that one dog to help you, because
right?
otherwise you would have been 24 hours instead of 23 hours stuck in
Absolutely.
depression and that. But
Yeah.
at least you had it 1 hour every day to help you stay out of that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that.
That's the amazing thing dogs can do for us when we understand their psychology and put our purpose into action. So
Yeah.
Otis gave me 1 hour of relief from my grief every day.
He
Um,
basically saved your life in a sense,
kind of, yeah,
mentally
yeah,
in that moment. You know what I
because
mean?
I was,
Changed it at least, put your
yeah,
Yeah.
trajectory, you know?
absolutely. Otis was like the only thing that got me out of that space in my head for an hour a day. And then as I was walking Otis every day, I was like, people do this for a living. Like people are dog walkers. You know, and I was like, I could do that. I could just be a dog walker. I'll get more dogs and I could do this every day. I'm really enjoying it. So, so I started telling a couple people, and I told another friend of mine that I was thinking about starting a dog walking business. And so she said, all right, well, walk my dog. So here now I got a second client. Now I'm walking two dogs. So now that's 2 hours a day. I got to be calm and assertive. And then I got a third client. So that's 3 hours. A fourth client, 4 hours. So I just kept getting more dogs and started extending that time period of when I had to feel calm and assertive. And before I knew it, that depression state kind of went away because I was practicing calm assertive more than I was practicing depression. So that's how my walks started, and it was all inspired by Caesar
When
and the
when
dog.
did they sorry to interrupt you there, but when did they evolve to you walking multiple dogs at a time?
That was like 4 years into my business.
Like what was like the story or the situation? Like did you go with Caesars and come back, or did you just find yourself with two dogs one day, or
Yeah. Well, I had all these dogs. I was walking them all one at a time. Every household was their own individual walk. I think I was doing, once I got more clients, I was doing a half-hour walk for like $8 or $10 or something like that. And then and I got all the books, all the videos. He had a magazine for a little while. There was a Cesar Millan magazine that I
I
got.
don't remember the magazine. I know the
I'm
books
gonna
and all that.
eBay that afterwards and
Like,
look it
Yeah,
up.
yeah, you could look for it. I don't know if I even have the ones that I had. Um, but like you can program your web browser to have a certain home screen on it every time you turn on your web browser or open up your computer, that same website. So his website was my home website
homepage.
on my web browser. And so I saw his website every day when I opened my computer and opened up my web browser. And one day on the website was, we're doing classes and workshops and blah, blah, blah at Caesar's Ranch. And I was like, holy crap, here's my chance to like, because after a while I was like, this is great with the videos and the TV show and the books and everything. But I need to like feel this energy in person. Like, I get the concept of the energy, but I need to like feel it. Like I want to feel what it's like. So I looked into that, and the workshop was expensive and the classes were not as expensive. So, the workshop was like $6,000. the classes were $400. So I said, okay, classes it is. And I registered for the first courses that they offered at the ranch in, I think, March of 2013. And so I showed up to an orientation that was at the Hyatt Hotel in Santa Clarita or Valencia. Um, and that was where I met Colleen for the first time and Melina for the first time. I didn't actually, like, I met Melina was there, but we didn't actually like meet because it was all the students there and nobody knew anybody. But Colleen was my teacher. So um, I just wanted to like say hi to her. And I remember Cesar came to say hello to us and to welcome us to this new program he was doing. And I remember he came into this hotel banquet room and he said, I passed up dinner with Bill Clinton to be here with you guys because I care about you more than meeting with the former president. And we
Nice.
were like, wow, that's cool. Like we feel important. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Um, and we did a big group photo and then I attended a class once a week in the morning, I believe. I remember I was getting up at like 3 in the morning so that I could beat rush hour traffic to drive an hour and a half or 2 hours to the ranch to be there at I think 7 or 8 in the morning or something like that. And I did that every week. And I took 2 classes. Melina was in my class and several other people. I took 2 classes. Both classes were taught by Colleen Steckloff, who runs LA Canines, and she was
Love
on an
Colleen.
episode of Dog Whisperer. I know you guys have talked about her in other episodes with other people. She's a prominent figure for all of us.
Yes,
Um,
definitely.
and I brought my dog Wando, who is a blue nose pit bull. That was my first dog. And
The first dog ever you had?
my first dog that I owned as an adult. Yeah.
Okay.
I started a
That
dog
you
walking
practice
business.
dog psychology with.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
I mean,
Okay.
it was the first dog I had on my own. We had family dogs, when I was growing up, but, through most of my 20s, I didn't have any pets because I was too busy being in my 20s. So I didn't
At
want
least
all the
you were
responsibility.
responsible enough to know that, hey, I shouldn't just like have a dog and not be there for it.
It didn't even cross my mind, to be honest. I was like, what do I didn't even think of it. But I saw the show and I didn't even have a dog. I started a dog walking business and I didn't have a dog.
That's great.
Otis was my first dog, even though he was a client. And I got Wando after having my business for 6 months or a year or something. I was like, if I'm going to be a dog walker, I should probably have my own dog. And I went,
Yeah. It's good though.
and
That was great. I love it.
yeah, I went to the Long Beach shelter to volunteer because I wanted to get my hands on more dogs. So I went to like apply to volunteer, and they were like, you have to go online. And I'm like, but I'm right here, right now. They're like, sorry, you got to go online. I was like, well, shit. So I went and walked around the shelter just because I was there. And that was when I saw Wando sitting in the shelter. And I was like, you're
He
it,
called to
buddy.
you. Nice.
He did. So I brought Wando to the classes. He had some prey drive. He was good with cats. Our roommate had a cat, and then she got a second cat, and the second cat was really skittish and ran away from him a lot. And then cats outside were running away from him, and he was around 2 years old, and he was coming into maturity, and so his prey drive kicked in, and I was having problems with it. So Colleen was helping me with that, and she said, you should take the workshop. And I was like, I can't afford the workshop. And she was like, you should take it anyway. You should just do it. Like she just kept pushing it.
Nice.
She was like, you
Yeah.
can do it. You can totally figure out a way. But she just kept pushing. And I finally was like, okay, I'll see if I'll put it on a credit card. So I put the workshop on a credit card. And I went in December of 2013 to the workshop. And that's that was a pretty life-changing week for me because not only did he have some prey drive, but he also had some resource guarding that he learned from my friend's dog. When we went to a backyard barbecue, he had never had an issue with it until another dog did it to him when he was a teenager. And then that night he curled his lip at that same dog, and I had never seen that before from him. So dogs can definitely learn behaviors from other dogs, that's for sure.
Imagine that.
I know, right?
And
Who
from
would have
people
thought?
too.
Who would have thought? Yeah. So we had a couple issues, and we ended up being on stage throughout the entire workshop.
Really nice.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Beautiful.
Wando,
It's a lucky thing.
yeah, at the time, Cesar had a horse named Conquistador, and Wando had also learned from other dogs in the classes that we had took with Colleen. The first class we took, we walked past all those animals every day and no problem. But then he saw another dog in our class lunge at the farm animals, and from then on, he started lunging at farm animals. He was just like
Monkey see,
learning
monkey
all the
do,
bad
huh?
behaviors. And I didn't know how to stop it. Like, I was not at a point where I knew what to do about that. I didn't nip it in the bud. I just went, "You didn't do that before. Why are you doing it
Yeah, I
now?"
like that.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yep.
so then it just kind of continued. So as soon as we show up to the workshop, Caesar, we have to walk up that road to get to the tent.
You're
Mm-hmm.
And
passionate.
yeah, and at that time, we went right into pack walks. Our schedule is a little different now at those workshops, but at that time, we didn't even go to the tent to put our stuff away. We just walked up the hill, and Caesar would meet us at the hill, and we would just all go for a pack walk.
The entire
The entire class. And we didn't have staff, we didn't have volunteers, we didn't have any of that. We just had Colleen and Heather Beck, and
wow.
they were our head trainers, and Caesar, and that was it. We didn't have microphones, we didn't have any of that stuff. It was just,
Very
here we go.
rudimentary.
So I show up, it's 8 in the morning or something, and my dog starts lunging at the farm animals, and I see Caesar just coming right towards us. He got it first thing, day one. Here comes Caesar, beelining right towards me and my dog, and he took him and he worked with him and the horse, and worked on the resource guarding. Like, we did a lot of things, and I learned how to walk a pack of dogs at that workshop. And that's when I got home from the workshop. I started putting dogs together. I was like, well, this one would be good. I had worked with all these dogs individually for 4 years.
Yep.
So I knew them really
You
well,
already knew.
and I had worked them all in. So it was just a matter of going, whoop, we're going to just put them all together.
And more calm, assertive energy. You go, let's just watch this.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
cool, isn't it? That's cool.
it is cool. Not only was it better for the dogs, it was better for business as well.
Absolutely.
Because when you're walking dogs one at a time, you're limited on how much you can make in a day.
Absolutely.
So,
Really.
if I can only walk 8 clients in a day, I can only make that much money. But when I'm doing pack walks, I could walk 20 clients in a day.
That's right.
Definitely. Yeah. Much more lucrative.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful. The power, and there's a there's a power in having a pack as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they influence each other, so they're kind of helping you do the work as well. If you have good pack members, you know what I'm saying? If you have bad pack members, then they're helping you do the bad work. You just have to make sure
Yeah.
you have control of everything. But that's
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah.
You are a person of many hats. Okay, let's talk about all the hats Jojo has worn. Okay,
Okay.
you have done improv comic stuff, like a roller skater, roller derby type stuff, a unicyclist, and a disciplined student of karate. Am I correct in that
Yeah.
as well? That you learned from your uncle?
Yep.
Is
Karate.
that
Karate.
karate? Okay,
It's
and
karate.
karate.
Karate, buddy.
So,
Yep.
give it. Tell us how you became interested in those passions, and how they may have overlapped into dog training?
That's a good question, Bobby. I am a person of many hats. I I just love learning new things. And I love variety, and um I've just kind of always been that way. So, when I was a
Unicyclist?
kid, sorry again,
Unicyclist? Or
unicyclist.
is that what that's called? Unicyclist?
Yeah, I'm a unicyclist. Uh,
Add it to
that
the
happened
list.
when I was a kid. That happened when I was a kid. My dad took my brother and I to a bicycle shop, and they had a unicycle at the bike shop. And uh, my parents always noticed what I was looking at. Like, they'd take me somewhere and I would get interested in something and I would just go investigate it. I would see, like, what is it? You know, it happened all the time. I would get things for Christmas and I didn't even know that they knew I wanted it because they had just noticed me noticing the
They
thing.
were just present with
Yeah,
you.
and so that's what happened with the unicycle. We were at a bike shop and I was looking at the unicycle, and then I got it for Christmas.
Awesome.
Nice.
And
Sorry to
then,
sidetrack you.
yeah, it's all
No,
good.
it's great.
I derailed the combination of what Bobby's question was. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, I was riding a unicycle when I don't know, I was 11, 12. I don't know.
Did you ever juggle and do the unicycle at the same
Um
time?
I have not learned to juggle, but it's on my list. It is
Okay,
on my list
perfect.
because it is something I want to learn. But it Bobby, you might remember this, but I lived in Pennsylvania when I was a kid, and uh do you remember there was a craze? I don't know if the craze was out here also, but it was like these two batons and a stick with
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
things
yeah. And you're
on, and
doing the
you
little
would go, yeah, yeah, yeah.
What
swirling
was
the
that
stick.
called again?
Uh-huh.
What was that called?
Oh gosh.
But
I
it was
cannot
all the rage at that time. Every
it,
kid had one.
yeah, I don't remember the name, but I definitely remember the toy or
Yeah,
whatever. It
yeah.
was
And so
so
there was
rudimentary
like,
but great. Like,
yeah, like rubbery grip tape on the sticks and
yep.
tassels on the ones. So you're like, you know. So
And
I
you're
would ride the unicycle and do that.
nice.
Uh,
That's awesome. I wonder what the world record is for someone unicycling a pack of dogs.
I don't know, but
How
I
many
think
unicyclists can pack walk? Probably not many.
Not many.
I don't know. I think I might be starting the bar at 6.
I think you could do it,
Yeah.
Jojo.
Oh, that's awesome. You've done 6, you said before?
You guys went on a deep dive about me and my life, did you?
I love it. I think you should go for the record. You'll get worldwide
I
attention.
think that might be the record because I don't know of anyone else who has
Call
done that.
Tried
Dennis.
it.
This guy called
Okay,
Dennis.
we're gonna have to.
Say,
Let's weave it back. Has karate helped you with dog training? And has the other things? What else did you that I really liked? Oh, of course, roller skating has definitely helped with the dog training because
Yeah,
you mentioned that you like to rollerblade or skate dogs.
yeah.
But and I do know that the comic stuff has definitely helped out at TCW when you've popped up on stage. You've literally stolen the show several times on stage. Everyone's busting up because you just have this ability to improv more than anybody else there. I think like you're just so quick witted. It's great. It's love Jojo at TCW. It's the best, man.
Thank you. I can't help it. I
Yeah,
get real jazzed when I'm up there. Like, there's no energy like a TCW energy. So
amen,
I'm
sister.
always just on top of the world when I'm up there. But yeah,
Very
all of
fueling.
the things like the unicycling is about balance. It's really helped me with balance.
Ooh,
Karate
good
helped me with
answer.
balance and discipline and understanding momentum and leverage to use to my advantage because I'm little. I've worked with
Beautiful.
dogs that were bigger than me and weighed more than me. And because I have a stability in my body physically to the ground, and I understand momentum and leverage because I've always been little and I've always been like randomly picked up by larger people. Like, when you're little, people just like to pick you up and take you places, and that's been the case for me since I was a kid. People just like to pick me up. And actually, we did a demonstration. My uncle was a karate instructor. Um,
Oh,
so
okay.
I took classes with my uncle, and my brother did too, but I went a little longer than he did. But
What belt did you get to?
well, we practiced Goshin Jutsu, which I have never heard being practiced anywhere else other than my uncle's
Can you
place.
repeat that again? What's it called?
Goshin Jutsu.
Goshin Jitsu.
Goshin Jutsu. So,
Jutsu.
uh, I think it's a Japanese form. Um, and it's a lot of form like you would see on Karate Kid. So it's like katas and
A
wazas
lot of
and
katas and okay.
yeah. So it's a lot of
Nice.
form, punches, kicks, and things like that, takedowns, and that kind of stuff. Later on, I did take judo in my 20s because I wanted to be a stunt double for the moment. But
Okay. Look at you. Another hat. Stunt double.
She
I
said
didn't
it's
know.
not.
People been picking you up and throwing you around, made you feel like you could be a stunt double, huh? You're easily tossed, so it's
You
like
know, I would always tell these stories at PCW, like at lunch and stuff. And Caesar would sit there, and one time he goes, "Jojo, why you do so many things?" I was like, I don't know. I like things.
you're a
Uh,
passionate person and you
I am.
enjoy exploring and learning new things about yourself. I love it.
I'm very outgoing, I guess.
It, it keeps you young. You know what I'm saying? When you're always learning something new, you're not stuck in I already know that. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? And when that I feel like when you already know something, that's when you really like kind of become a crotchety old person in a sense, you know?
It gets boring, and I think,
Yeah.
if you don't address your life when things get in a rut, you might end up just selling everything you own and moving into an RV. It's possible.
You know that from experience?
Maybe a little bit. Um,
It's beautiful.
At
yeah.
least you know what to do to get out of it now, though.
I've noticed that every like 10 to 15 years, I make a big change.
I was
So I only have two times to develop this pattern so far, but because I'm not old enough to have more eras of that. But yes,
Nice. Well, it's
yeah,
good to grow and evolve into like a new version of yourself if you
yeah,
don't want to stay stagnant and stuff.
totally, yeah.
Yeah.
And I needed the change, but
Beautiful.
it's working out well.
When I heard it, I was like, "Wow, dude, that's like that is some amazing. Like, I think you are courageous and above most people that I know, myself included. I don't think I'd be able to do that. Like, but it's awesome. I commend you, man. I think
Thank
that's
you.
truly like a heroic kind of thing, an
Mm,
adventurous type mindset. So
wow,
it's beautiful.
heroic. That's a big word. Put on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like we're all heroes and artists in our own
there.
way.
You
You know what I
go.
mean?
Here we are.
Like
Don't dilute it,
we're all
Bobby.
the
He's
hero
a
of our
hero.
own story, and we're all the artists of our own lives. So that's the way I see it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks, dude. Um.
Cool. Love it.
Would
Yeah.
you ever? Are you gonna ever? Do you ever see the nomadic quest stopping at any point? The traveling.
I do. Yeah. I got I traveled full time for like I went up the coast and I came back home to Long Beach for the holidays and some family stuff, and we had 5 workshops that year. I think it was 2021. We had like 5 workshops between
That was
November
a
and
big year.
December, or September and December, something like that. So I stayed home for that so I could do the workshops and kind of regroup from my first little trip up the coast. And then I spent 9 months doing the whole thing around the country. You know, I came back home partly because I was homesick, partly because I was running low on funds. I was spending all my house money, and I I realized that I needed a better business model to sustain the lifestyle that I was doing, because it sounds like it's cheaper, but it's actually like, this thing is a
There's a
gas
lot of things
guzzler.
going on.
Like,
Yeah.
gas is expensive, and staying at parks is expensive, and you know there were plenty of free spots that I got to stay in, which was awesome, but it cost money. So so that's when I came home and I was like, I got to figure out something else. And also I realized I didn't like anywhere better than Long Beach, which is my hometown. So,
I'm sorry
um,
you broke up there. Can you say that one more time? You didn't like what?
yeah. Well, I figured out after all that traveling that there's no place better than Long Beach. I love my,
Yes, there is.
There's no
That
place like
is.
home.
yeah,
It's
there's no
beautiful. It's
place
like
like
no, no.
home.
It's beautiful to go out and have fun and everywhere. But there's something about coming home that is just
Hmm.
it's home. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah. So
Yeah,
that's,
it's pretty nice over there, I'd say.
it is. It is pretty nice.
I think the feel today when I woke up was 15. You know, it
No
was pretty
kidding.
welcoming.
Mm.
Besides Caesar, can you mention a mentor or a few who have really impacted your career? And what were some of the biggest lessons you may have learned from them?
Ooh, well, yeah. Besides Caesar, Colleen was definitely a major influence for me. She taught me a lot. She taught me how to. The thing I've always been trying to learn more in life, especially since working with dogs, is to be more assertive. Because I'm not naturally an assertive person. I mean, it sounds like I am because I've done all these things, but when it comes to like relationships and really standing up for myself, putting up appropriate boundaries, those kinds of things, or um, when dealing with dogs, I needed more influence on being more assertive. So Colleen was definitely, I mean, there's
Instrumental in
only
that.
so much information you can get from Caesar or so much tutelage you can get from Caesar because he's a celebrity, he's big time, and you know,
Limited time
he's
and
got
yeah, connected.
there's limits to what you can get from him. And so Colleen was like a major influence. Also, she lives nearby, so and Melina and I, like, when we were asked back to volunteer for the workshops, Colleen just said, "You two, you can bunk together," and we barely knew each other. Colleen called me and she's like, "You're in a room with Melina," and I was like, "Who's Melina?" And then we got into the room and I was like, "Oh yeah, you, I remember you from class." But we were sharing a room and we shared a room like from then on and became best friends. But you know I was we were together in a team, and we need more from Colleen, so that like we would just gang up, me and her and Heather Mickelson, like the three of us would just gang up on Colleen and go, "We want e-collar information. We want to work on e-collar, and we want to work on this, and we want to work on that. Can you teach us this?" And like we just pestered her all the time until she finally uh taught us
Was
everything. So
subdued.
like to try to narrow down something that Colleen taught me is hard because she taught me so much.
Awesome. I love
Um
it. That's an even better answer.
yeah,
Oh, great.
yeah. But Heather Beck was influential also. She's like very business minded. She's got a strong business mind.
I've
So I
never
learned a
met
lot of
her.
stuff from that.
Yeah.
She's got a great business going in Draper, Utah. I went and shadowed with Mark Goldberg in the Chicago area and learned a lot of e-collar stuff and technique. And he actually had some good business advice as well. So Mark Goldberg's a good guy. I learned a lot from him.
Nice.
Um, Edit out my pauses, guys. Edit this part out where I'm thinking.
No, we love it. We love it. No, it's you're really
Uh,
you're taking the time to really want to like
Yeah,
include
absolutely.
everybody. I love it. Like, you
Do
know,
yeah,
you
well,
do you still talk to Mark Goldberg?
we're friends on Facebook, so the occasional comment here and there. But
I live near him, and I've always wanted to go out and see him, or even I would even pay for a lesson from him because I guess he'd probably just recommend me go to one of the Monks and New Ski workshops that him and
uh-huh.
they all host together. But yeah, I heard he does really good e-collar work, and I'd just like to see what it looks like.
Yeah. Well, Art and Steve, like we had all heard about him kind of around the same time. Like me and Art and Steve and Heather and Melina were all kind of coming up the ranks together. And we had heard that Mark Goldberg was the godfather of e-collar. So, so Art and Steve went up there and he did like a 3-day shadow program. And he's got his own little property with
Little
kennels and all
farm.
that stuff. Yeah, his little dog farm. And we just shadowed, and all they do is just do e-collar sessions with all the different dogs that they have in training. He and his assistant or his co-worker Patrick. So it was
Yeah.
working multiple dogs on e-collar
Yep.
every three
I
days.
think we have a similar way of doing it, but yeah, I would love to learn from him too. I'm really interested in that. So
Mhm.
bridge the gap is what I'm lightly saying. No, I've reached out to him and it never messaged me back. So I'm like,
Yeah, that was several years ago. I'm not sure he does that anymore.
yeah, well, either way.
But we went in groups. Like Art and Steve went together, so there's like a group discount, and I went with Heather and
Melina.
Melina?
Lauren White from Virginia.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
okay. She was a TCW student, no?
Who was a TCW student,
Okay,
and
yeah,
now
yeah.
she just opened a big ass facility on her new property,
Oh,
which
did
I
she?
stayed at for a minute for a couple weeks.
You
Cool,
were
cool.
there when you traveled there last time?
Yeah, she helped me out. So while I was traveling, 2 times we had workshops. So the first workshop I stayed at Todd's, and Todd and I flew back together for the workshop. And his wife watched one of my dogs, and one of his old coworkers watched Jack's. And I parked my RV in their driveway. And so we went back for the workshops. And then the second time I had to fly back, I was in Virginia. So Um, Lauren watched my dogs, and the RV was at her property, which now has a big facility on it,
Nice.
just built.
It's always good when you have friends that kind of help you out. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it was definitely
Take care of each other. The
big help,
pack.
big help for sure. So props to Todd Langston and
We
Lauren
love
White.
Todd. Todd is the
I
best.
learned a lot from Todd also. Like Todd's a good mentor as well.
Todd's a fantastic dog trainer. The way he breaks
Absolutely.
it down, I think, is like just a notch above. He's really top notch. He really is. He deserves to be the head trainer there,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
without a doubt.
And
You know what I
he's
mean?
got
His
a
skill
very
level,
analytical mind.
definitely.
So every interaction he's thinking like, why did this person act this way, why did they say that, and like, or why did this dog do that. Like he just kind of lives his life in this way where he's breaking down behavior.
He's
And
in the
it's
Matrix.
it's if you want to have that kind of conversation, he's a great person to talk to,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
we can get into all the nitty gritty about all kinds of stuff. And we went fishing. I hadn't been fishing since I was a kid.
That was good for you, wasn't
Ben,
it?
Yeah,
That was good for you, wasn't it? Yeah,
it
good.
was. It was really good. I didn't catch
Ben
him,
likes to
but
fish. I don't know if
it
people
was
Yeah,
know
fun.
that about Ben, but
that's what
Ben's
I'm
a
worried about
fisherman.
going down fishing with Todd. I don't know if he's going to put me on any fish or not.
We didn't have much luck that day, but I'm sure there's luck other days.
Yeah, you'd rather have luck than skill, that's for sure.
I I He
I
taught
like to
me
have
a
a little
little
bit
bit
of
of
both.
skill. I think with practice I could catch like ginormous fish and compete with Ben on that.
I think
I set the
JoJo,
bar
if
a
you
little
put your
lower.
mind to anything,
Right?
anyone can do it. JoJo can do it. That's for
That's it.
sure.
I got a lot of beginner's luck.
You know what? You know what will happen when you come to Illinois, though,
We're going fishing.
and we're going catching. That's what I'll say.
Oh, okay.
I
Mm,
like that. We're
catching,
going catching.
catching. You do
If
it the
you
Bert
could
and
go
Ernie
back
way.
on, go ahead.
What was that?
You do it the Bert and Ernie way, where you catch them just jumping into your boat.
No, no, no. Well, it'll appear like that. It's a little bit more state of the art, but
Hmm.
yes,
Okay.
dynamite.
No, you just
If you
call
could,
them here, fishy, fishy, fishy.
That's right. The fish whistle usually, but
Mm,
yes,
cool.
fish whistle.
we'll teach you what the fish whistle is one day. Anyways, but
If you could go back and offer yourself, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
I'm
Ben.
sorry, buddy. Go.
If you could go back and give yourself a bit of advice to a younger JoJo, maybe to avoid one of the pitfalls that you've maybe ran into, dog wise,
Hmm.
life wise, what would that advice be?
Hmm. Well, I'm sure other people have answered the question this way, but we don't learn lessons until we've learned them. And so if we could go back and change things, then we don't learn those lessons. So then we get ourselves into a whole circular conversation.
That's
So,
true.
but, there were times where I went to appointments to meet with clients that I didn't have a good feeling about, or I wasn't feeling great that day. And I ended up getting bit or didn't go very well or something happened. Um, there were some hard lessons that I wish I could have learned in an easier way, like let's use muzzles if you're unsure about a
Yeah.
dog's propensity to
That is
bite.
a great lesson, dude.
Yeah.
That's a lesson that if someone's watching this, that maybe they haven't gotten to that point yet where they've gotten bit, you know what I mean? And maybe like, hey, get before you get bit, maybe learn muzzling that is it's just safer. Let's just take the danger out of the situation.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
So
No, it's a great bit of advice.
yeah, being someone who just, I don't just make spur of the moment decisions. I do research a lot before I go and do stuff, but there was a period of time where I was overly confident and it kind of bit me in the ass a few times. And so those are lessons we kind of have to learn. I wish there was a nicer way to learn them rather than getting hurt or getting somebody else hurt. Um, so I would, you know, if I could still have the lesson but not do the action,
Yeah, no,
then I would change
it's a great
that.
answer. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I like it. It's
yeah.
beautiful. No, it's poignant. It's thought out. It's like it's a true lesson that we should all learn because basically, first you told me you should follow your instincts a little bit more, not go to these appointments when you feel that this person isn't. Then you also said maybe I should have like I shouldn't have been so overconfident. So it's an ego check. We all need that from time to time. Otherwise, if we don't check ourselves, the universe will check us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one way or another, we're gonna find it.
Mm-hmm.
And also then finally you said, the putting the muzzle that's another ego check, like, oh, maybe I thought I was so good that I was going to stop it before something happened.
Mm-hmm.
And you're checking your ego at the door and saying, hey, this is what is the safest situation. You know what I mean? So I think that the way you answered was beautiful. It had a lot of answers in it that were necessary to hear, and you needed those lessons to learn to teach people these other lessons.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we're definitely gonna make a clip out of that.
There you go.
Like, those stories that I have of the mistakes that I've made, I've told more than once in my Zoom sessions with my like lead academy students, and the gravity of those stories I think really affects them, and maybe that's why I had to do it that way so that I could teach others. I don't know. Um, but I
Beautiful.
think a lot of them will think twice before doing something without a muzzle if they're unsure about a dog biting. So hopefully they
Yeah.
didn't have to learn the hard way like me.
Your
Yeah,
lesson is
what
being taught. So
once
that's
you start using a muzzle too more often, it becomes such a bit of advice that I hand out. I would say even now more than I ever have to whether it's I would say mostly clients, but yeah, the muzzle is an astronomical tool, especially for people's confidence.
yeah.
Just the direct. That's the number one reason I would say I use it. I'd say a lot of dogs that I deal with biting or that have the ability to bite don't aren't actually aggressive. It's just that the muzzle makes the owners more confident, and I would say just within that in itself, you know.
There's a superpower in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Definitely, definitely. Okay, my final question. What do you want your legacy to be when you leave this world? What do you want people to remember Jojo as?
I've always kind of wondered why people want a legacy. I don't know. So I've never really thought about it much. I didn't really feel like it's necessary for me to have a legacy, but if I were to have one, I think what I'm doing now with my online coaching program with Lead Academy, I think that's I think that's what I like leaving, because the the goal with that is like to have people all over the country or even the world that can provide the same thing that I provided for my clients. I started in a town where nobody was practicing dog psychology, and when I first started there was like no one for me to relate with, people who actually didn't want me around because I was associated with someone who they didn't like, because they thought, you know, someone was abusive and I learned from them. And so I must be awful, you know?
Yeah,
So, so not only did I have nobody else, but I also got some bad feedback from other people. So, um, the clients that I've helped, I think, like, I would just like for people in any part of the world to have a resource like that that can help them with their dog. Like anytime Cesar Millan posts something on Instagram or social media or anywhere, there's a million comments of people going, "Help me, help me, help me, help me. My dog does this. Help me, help me, help me." And like, I don't know if they know that there are other people that can do that and help them.
Yeah.
And we have our Facebook group for TCW students, and most of what you guys hear, that helicopter?
I heard that. That's
It's
actually,
really
yeah,
loud. But most of what people are asking for in that group is, do we have anybody who practices what we do in this area?
Yeah.
mm,
And a lot of times there aren't anybody. And so I think, Caesar has that mission where he's spreading the philosophy and the knowledge, and he does the workshops, and he's got a TV show, and he does all of this stuff, and it's to get that message out. And then, like, we are kind of like the next level of troops to to,
help out.
to
Yeah,
march out those orders in a sense. Um, and
trying to get the
so
word out.
that's I I've taken on the same mission, um, inspired by him, and I want people to be able to have a balanced relationship with their dogs, and so that's another reason why I've created a program to help on a larger scale, because I can only help the people of Long Beach if I'm just doing it here, but if I am teaching other people to do it in their areas, then that spreads, incrementally larger on a
So
larger
you
scale.
want your legacy to be empowerment and like the power of the pack, giving
Yeah,
giving somebody a pack to basically,
absolutely,
Power of the dog,
right?
even.
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And for me, it's not just about dogs. It's about becoming a better version of yourself. We talk about better human, better dog, but like, from the get-go, it helped me to be a better person. Just from 1 hour of feeling calm and assertive, and the rest of my day was shit. Um, it improved more than it improved my life in more than one way. It's helped me to build confidence. It's made me more assertive. Um, which in itself, like, has had so many benefits to my life since then. Like, just the philosophy of understanding energy and tuning in and going with your instincts and living in the moment and trust, respect, love, and all of the, all of the words that we hear as being kind of like training Caesar's way. People, not to just go on and on about Caesar so much, but
Yeah.
um, that
It's
philosophy,
simple, natural, profound.
yeah, it's like something that I put into every aspect of my life, and I want that to help people as well.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. Well, we're at an hour, so I think we're going to wrap it up. But I appreciate your time. I really enjoyed you on the podcast, and until we see each other again.
Hopefully soon.
Thank you.